My dear friends, our gospel passage is from John chapter 15, from verse 1 to 8, where Jesus, in using the image of the vine and its branches, explains the special relationship between himself and the disciples. The theme is, remain connected to the vine. I wish to explain the word remain and how it is fundamental to the relationship we have with Jesus. The Greek word meno, which is translated as remain, appears about 7 times in our passage. For instance, in the verse 4 of John chapter 15, the word remain appears about 4 times. Jesus says, and I quote, "Remain in me as I remain in you." Just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me, unquote. This alone reveals how the word remain is so fundamental to the understanding of the passage. The word remain can be used interchangeably with the word stay or the word abide. And this describes a profound, intimate, and enduring relationship. To appreciate the importance of the word remain, the setting for the discourse may be helpful. This is the night after the Last Supper. And what it means is that Jesus is giving his final message to the disciples before his arrest. What Jesus would like to teach the disciples before his physical departure is on relationship. And the image he decides to use is that image that every Jew living in Palestine is familiar with. The image of the vine. A type of tree that even children are familiar with. Just like talking about cell phones in today's world. Jesus describes the relationship between himself and the disciples by using the vine and its branches. So he says in the verse 5, and I quote, "I am the vine, and you are the branches," unquote. By this connection, Jesus is stressing an intimate and an enduring relationship which he has with the disciples. The implication, therefore, is that his physical departure will not in any way terminate the relationship between him and the disciples. This is the type of relationship that lasts forever. It is therefore in the light of this that the word remain is relevant. For a relationship to exist, we know that it takes 2 people. And for the relationship to continue to exist, the parties must decide to remain in it. The choice to remain has to be made. So Jesus says in the verse 4, "Remain in me as I remain in you." The point is that Jesus has already made the choice to remain in the disciples. They too have to make the choice to remain in him. By calling them to become disciples, by teaching them, and by his readiness to suffer and die, is an expression and a demonstration of his choice to remain in a relationship with the disciples. My dear friends, it's all about relationship. And Jesus would like to enjoy a relationship with each and every one of us. That type of relationship which is intimate and which is enduring. That which is so profound and lasts forever. And the question is that as he has already made the choice to remain in us, have you also made the choice? Do we know that by deciding to pray each day, it is an expression of our readiness to remain in Jesus? Do we know that by reading the scriptures every day, it is an example of our readiness to remain in Jesus? To remain in friendship with Jesus, it simply means to talk with him, to know more about him. And that's why he says, "Remain in me." My dear friends, the other part of the relationship between the vine and its branches has to do with bearing fruit. The truth is that the branch can only bear fruit when it is connected to the vine. By using the image of the vine and its branches, Jesus emphasizes this truth when it says in the verse 4b, and I quote, "Just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me," unquote. The life and the future of the disciples is determined by their readiness to always remain connected to Jesus, the Master. Fruitfulness is only possible when the disciples who are branches remain connected to Jesus, the true vine. My dear friends, our ability to bear fruit like love, compassion, forgiveness, purity, and the others can only happen when we remain connected to Jesus, who is the vine. Just like the battery of a cell phone can only work when it is charged, so will the disciples of Jesus be able to bear fruit when they are connected. The question is, are we connected? Jesus says, "Without me, you can do nothing." This reminds me of the story of a friend who stopped praying because he felt that God was not answering him, that God was not listening to him. As things became more difficult, he decided to go back to God in prayer. And his first statement to God was that, "God, you know I am angry." When he had finished, God said to him, "I have been waiting for you." My dear friends, God is always there for us. No matter how far we stray, and even no matter how we feel, he's there, waiting for us. He desires an intimate, he desires an enduring relationship, and he invites us to remain in the relationship. My prayer is that we shall once again resolve to remain in Jesus as we come to that firm belief that fruitfulness is the result of life-giving connection to Jesus, the true vine. Let us remain connected to Jesus, and we shall bear fruit that will last. May God bless you. Amen.